Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's a new test hand video for you guys today. This one's on my most recent Lair of Darkness deck. So if you haven't checked out the deck profile, I'll be sure to post a link in the description down below. But anyway, so this deck is mostly a control-based strategy, as I mentioned. It's focusing around tripping monsters to get advantage, and especially to search out your trap cards. So yeah, this deck can be pretty nuts. As y'all know, I already got Pot of Prosperity, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to stick to Pot of Extravagance simply because, I don't want to change anything for inconvenience purposes. So yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, I will be bringing you guys two builds of dinosaurs, and yeah, just kind of go from there. But anyway, sorry this is a little late, by the way. I meant to bring this out to you guys yesterday, but I fell asleep and I was just really tired, so I apologize for that. But anyway, I have time today and figure just try to get as much content out to you guys as possible. So anyway, let me finish shuffling up here and we will get started. All right. So, same as always, two test hands, one going first, one going second, and yeah, let's go from there. All right, opening hand is, okay, Scarm, not too bad, I guess. Trap Trick, Lost Wind, ooh, Tour Guide, so that's a good one, and Arima. Okay, so I can definitely see a lot of things going on with this here. Okay, well, for sure, we're gonna go and discard the Arima. We're gonna go and add Lair of Darkness to our hand. All right, next we're going to go ahead and activate that Lair of Darkness, and then we're going to go ahead and normal summon Tour Guide. I don't want to use Scarm's effect because unfortunately he'll use one of his effects once per turn and only once that turn, so that's why I'm not going to use it right now. But what we can do is we're going to go ahead and special summon Lilith. That way, at least since we have Trap Trick in our graveyard, we could potentially use what do you call it? Back to the front as its material, well, as to bring it out. So yeah, that's one way to go about it. So anyway, right now Lilith has her effects negated, but that doesn't really matter because we're just going to link off for 2, and we're going to go and make our Verte Anaconda. I believe this card has to be from field to the grave first. No, it just needs to be sent to the graveyard. So we could actually use this as discard fodder. So we're actually going to go and pay our 2,000. We're going to send Red Ice Fusion as well as our vanillas. So Red Ice Fusion, Red Ice Black Dragon, and of course, can't forget the Dark Magician. In order to summon out Dragoon. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Dragoon simply because he's just so broken, but, it does give a huge boost to a lot of rogue decks, so just bear that in mind. It's definitely an amazing card in its own right. All right, I guess we can just go ahead and wrap things up by setting 2 cards face down, and that's it. So as soon as your opponent, and it's most likely your opponent's always going to try to force out that negate, you're going to discard your Scarm for costs so that way you can negate something with Dragoon. You get a power boost of, 1,000 points permanent. You have cards like Lost Wind, so if your opponent tries to, use it, bring out their own Dragoon, you can stop that from happening as soon as they summon that Verte Anaconda. You still got Trap Trick, so keep in mind with Trap Trick, you can only activate 1 trap for the duration of the turn, but luckily we only have the 2 traps anyway, so again, for disruption purposes, you still got the Lost Wind, so your opponent tries to set off combo with their monster effects, you got that. Now, of course, Lost Wind will only work on special summon monsters, so as soon as they link into something to get some advantage, hit that link monster or whatever they're trying to summon out. And then at that point, go Trap Trick. You can banish Back to the Front, you can banish Torrential Tribute, whatever you want. Because Dragoon can't even be destroyed by card effects, so you could just play Torrential Tribute as soon as they summon something, or if you know they're not going to be able to do much else after you hit them with that Lost Wind, at that point, just banish, let's just banish it Back to the Front, and we'll go and set it Back to the Front. Of course, we are allowed to activate it on the same turn it's set, thanks to Trap Trick's effect. So, I guess if your opponent hits the end phase, activate the Back to the Front, and bring back your Lilith. That way on your next turn, you could switch her back into attack mode. She'll have 2,000 attack points, which is really nuts. And since it's still the end phase, I'm actually going to go ahead and tribute. Well, actually, no, don't tribute anything. That way your opponent doesn't have any tokens. So, yeah, actually don't tribute anything. So, yeah. So next turn, you draw. Okay, we got another copy of Arima, in which case I'll probably just go ahead and normal summon that at the start of my main phase. Switch Lilith to attack mode, tribute your whatever monster your opponent may still have. That we can do the random search. So let's get Dogmatic of Punishment. Let's just get both Dogmatic of Punishments. And let's get our third copy of Lost, or our second copy of Lost One, I'm sorry. We'll roll one at random. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this one stays. The other two go back to the deck. And then if you wanted to, you could actually use a Verite Anaconda's effect again. So we'll pay our 2,000 since we're not going to be special summoning any more monsters. We'll go ahead and we're going to go ahead and send Magical Ice Fusion, and we're going to banish the Dark Magician and the Red Ice Black Dragon that's in our grave. Yeah. And then this time we're going to go ahead and summon out our second copy of Dragoon. I'm surprised I haven't seen any extravagance yet, but it is what it is. So yeah, now you got 2 Dragoons, and yeah. At this point, we'll probably go ahead and just enter the battle phase. This should be enough for game, honestly, because your Dragoon will have like 4,000 attack points. This one still has 3,002, 17, 5. Yeah, that should be good, right? So anyway, that's pretty much it for the first hand, since the whole point is just to apply pressure. Now keep in mind, I did mention Dragoon is not the only win condition. Sometimes you could just simply win with your trap cards, because the whole point is just to outgrind your opponent and just like get rid of all their resources. That way they don't really get to recover. Because like Lilith, you can just go full Lilith beatdown. Arima has a big body. You still got Darkest Diabolus that can't even be targeted or kaiju'd. So yeah, Darkest Diabolus is a good option. And not to mention Super Poly is just really good at breaking boards too. But anyway, let's go ahead and just reshuffle. Let's try again, and hopefully we have a good hand. All right, so let's see what we got. Okay, so we bricked with Dark Magician. Okay, we got Dogmatic Punishment though. That's pretty good, and Super Poly. Okay, we got Compulse and a Metaverse. Okay, that's not too terrible. So your opponent's going to set up his board. Unfortunately, we don't run hand traps, but again, I'm not really that worried about it. As soon as he sets up his board, and I've mentioned this a couple times in the past, Dark is usually one of the most generic attributes anyway, and one of the most powerful even. So Super Poly is definitely going to be really good this format, because Dragon Link's a thing again. Yeah, there's just like so many good strategies this format, so I'm not too worried about that. So we draw for turn. Okay, we got Trap Trick. Okay, so if your opponent has, like, let's say a Dragoon and a Borreload Savage Dragon, you know, heck, even Dragoon mostly. Like, Dragoon is going to be, like, one of the biggest problems this format. You could easily just break that with Super Poly, because that's literally that card's worst nightmare. We'll discard Dark Magician for cost. Just make a Starving Venom. That way you can at least just clear the board and just clear out any and all negates. So, yeah. And then at that point, just set the 4 back row. Just swing at your opponent. That's all you got to do. And at the start of your opponent's stand, you just end your turn immediately after. At the start of your opponent's standby phase, activate Metaverse. Just play Lair of Darkness right away. Hopefully they don't have an Ash for that Metaverse though. That's the only thing you got to worry about. But if they don't have the Ash, you should be good with Lair of Darkness already on the board. And if they destroy this, you can destroy all special summon monsters with your opponent control. So that's also a bonus. So that's one of the cool things about Starving Venom. If your opponent tries to do any form of recovery play, you know, bounce back their monsters. If they keep going, Dogmatic Punishment. Just like send Entest to the grave. You get to pop 2 cards now, because this one destroys monsters, this destroys anything. So yeah, at that point you're good. And of course, not to mention, you still got Trap Trick, which in this case you can just banish a normal spell. Actually, thinking about it now, we could actually bring out Dark Magician. Let's do it. Let's just banish back to the front. That way we can just activate it on the end phase of my opponent's turn. Your opponent ends his turn, back to the front, bring out Dark Magician. So like this deck gets really annoying fast if you can just like keep applying the pressure. That's really all this deck does, is like you just pressure your opponent to the point where they can't really do much, if anything, to you, and you can just keep beating them down with these big-bodied monsters. Next turn, we draw another Lair of Darkness, but I don't really care. We can just put Dark Magician to attack mode, attack directly with both. So, like, yeah, that's pretty good. And you can just kind of keep doing this if you wanted to. But yeah, if your opponent's already, like, out of resources, you should be okay. Because, again, if they destroy this, you're just going to punish them for it. Dark Magician, you know, it's a monster. So, yeah, it's like, with a big body, no effects. You don't even have to worry about negations because like cards like Forbidden Droplet won't even work on that thing. So yeah, that's pretty good right there. So anyway, that's pretty much the idea of Lair of Darkness. Like, you're just gonna keep using your back row, just like keep your opponent on his toes, and yeah, that's all this deck does. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.